The abilities are special abilities, granted by the ancestral fruit, which bring happiness to humanity in ancient times. We must walk among them to reach a future full of light. We go from scene and see this blonde, who asks a boy named Light what kind of ability he would like to have. He replies that it would be great to have double wield or speed. Perfect aim would not be bad either. Whatever it is, I want an ability to fight. In the end, he plans to be a successful adventurer, since that is his childhood dream. And here we see Light, aspiring adventurer, who has no skill, and the blonde is Lena, his childhood friend, who does not have skill either. Light is very excited to think that today his dream will finally come true, since the day has finally come when he will receive a skill, and he will start his second life. She asks Lena what skill she would like. She starts to think he says he would like to have the same job as him in that case. The two will be adventurers, although they do not know what skill they will receive until they eat the fruit. Ah, why did not I tell you? But they will have to eat a fruit to acquire said skill. I do not know why I heard this, and it reminded me automatically of One Piece, but hey, finally they arrive at the place, and Light thinks he will be the best adventurer in the world, and that he will pass his name to history. Can my little Light achieve it? Well, let's find out. And so begins the life of Light's adventurer, or so it was supposed, since we see him cutting berries. These know him very well, and he says that to date they are the best he has cultivated, so he thinks that this is his profession, or that would happen in a parallel world, and that Light is angry about that. It turns out that his dream of being an adventurer is far away, since he is now working cultivating fruits, and all after having received this skill. But we go back 3 months, that day our protagonist ate a skill fruit, so we see the sacred sister, which talks about the skill fruits, says that the skill fruits that they are going to receive are special fruits that grant a skill to those who eat it. So they will choose and eat one of these fruits each. However, there is a rule that they must follow. They can only eat a skill fruit in life. If they eat a second one, they will poison and die, since there have been many naive who ate a second fruit because they did not like the skill that they had touched and they wanted to try again. Obviously, of course, everyone died. The blonde asks Light if he knew about this. Light says yes, that any aspiring adventurer knows. He says that without a combat ability you cannot do anything, since all the famous adventurers have a very powerful ability, and Light would like to be like them. Is the first to pass. She goes to the fruits, grabs one and eats it. After this she feels a sensation as if her body burns and acquires the ability Holy Sword. The girl who gave her the impacted fruit says that she never imagined that she would witness the birth of one, since apparently when she gets the Holy Sword she becomes one of the chosen ones, and that she has been waiting for an adventurer like her. This is such a fuss that they even ask to let all the Gremius know immediately, so Elena is very OP. She tells him to wait for Light's ability to be good too. The excited says yes, now it's his turn, so he approaches, grabs the fruit and looks at it. He thinks a little and eats it, and while he receives the effect he thinks that he will leave his name in history. Once he finishes eating it they tell him that his ability is Master of Fruits, and well, it's an ability related to fruits. He can grow more than one at a time and reduce his growth time, although clearly it is not a skill for combat. This leaves Light devastated. He wants to be an adventurer. He asks that if he tries again. Obviously they tell him that he cannot, and they ask him if he wants to die. Light thinks that his future is over. The blonde tells him not to worry, and that she will also grow fruits, and that they have a huge plantation together. This makes the sacred sister angry, since she says that the sacred swords like her are only seen once every decade. So for the good of the nation, she must be adventurous. So they tell her that she will move to the sacred city immediately. She says yes. Light is shocked, since they take his childhood friend, but while she leaves, he tells her that he will be waiting for him. 3 months have passed since that day. Since then he has been growing food and selling it in exchange for money. So there we see the since then he has been growing food and selling it in exchange for money. So there we see the protagonist, as he is in a cultivator and worker mode. For a moment he thinks he was born for this job, but the touch is retracted, saying that he should not think that. And well, as he finished harvesting, now he has to go sell them. After selling a few, he thinks that if he used his ability in other vegetables he could get more money. But as it only works in fruits, he thinks that this ability is bad. He manages to see a sign of the blonde, in which he realizes that they raised him to that rank in a record time. This puts him a little in shock, in that he hears a child who is walking happily, which says that when he is an adult he will be an adventurer. And the girl who goes next to the child also wants to be an adventurer, since she says that she will be like Lena. When he hears this, he knows that he and Lena are getting further and further apart. Light keeps training, because he thinks that one day he would like to be at the same level as Lena, and he thinks that he will find a way. Even if he does not have a combat ability, he says that if he manages to cut this log in half, then he can be an adventurer, and in that, he puts all his strength, and he does not achieve it. He falls to the ground. He says that it is impossible, and he thinks that surely Lena will have already forgotten his face and his name in that. This girl appears. Her name is Ayla. She took water to Light. Oh, why didn't I tell you? But Ayla is the girl who lives with Light. She doesn't have skills either, and because of certain circumstances in life, she is with him. Since the head of the village gave her a dose, and now they live together. The fact is that, as they live together, they share work and tasks. She tells him that dinner is ready. So happily, the Prota is going to eat while they eat. He asks him how the harvest came out today. Light says that it went pretty well. Especially the skill fruit, since lately Light is focused on cultivating them, and it is because he wants to save money to buy a decent sword. Light tells him that by the way he put the skill fruits in those boxes, he tells him that he does not even think about eating them without his permission, and when she saw this was like, how do I tell you? The truth is that I used a couple for the stove. Nothing will happen, no. Light obviously reacts furiously, but she says that the fruits looked very tasty. He remembers that they told him that if he ate a second they would poison him and die. He knows that they had warned him. Light feels how his body burns and feels the same as 3 months ago, so he wonders if he is going to die. He falls to the ground. The girl obviously worries about Light, but Light only apologizes. He says that it's his fault for not telling him about the ability fruits. So he tells Ayla that she didn't do anything wrong. However, when he realizes that he is not dead, he wonders why he didn't die. But out of nowhere his head hurts a lot. And at that moment he acquires a new ability, God of the Sword. Meanwhile, the sister is a little excited and says that she never thought this would happen. The Proto asks if it is special, and in that case he wonders why at that moment Ayla's body also begins to burn and her head started to hurt, which means that she will also acquire a skill since she also ate a fruit. Ayla, after eating the fruit, tells the Proto that his skill makes him immune to the poison of all fruits. Ayla asks him how he knows, and she tells him that when she saw him she saw many letters that appeared. He also says that he has another ability. God of the Sword. Carrying a sword increases his attack power, also increases his resistance to magic. Basically they gave him powers of the Prota, and he wonders if Ayla received an evaluation ability. In that case he wants to make sure that he owes this warmth. He feels he throws it at him running with his sword, and he thinks that if the ability is real he should be able to cut this log now. He uses his strength, and this time he can cut it. Thanks to this he realizes that it seems that he is the only one in the world who has 2 skills. The next day, Isla is delighted to see a pizza, since she says she had never seen one before, so she thinks it looks delicious. And well, I'm honest, when I see it, I'm already hungry. The protagonist finally arrives at the place where the adventurers meet, and he is very happy since he had always dreamed of coming here. They realize that there are many monsters in charge, and if they complete them they will give him a reward, and Light explains to Ayla that with the money you can buy equipment and delicious food like the pizza she saw before, but today they are not here just to earn money. The unknown ability that he received yesterday, he wonders how much the God of the Sword will help him in a real fight, so he has to find out to know if he can join the adventurers, and if it were possible, he would like to be with Lena again. His childhood friend. Light asks Ayla to stay here waiting for her. Since she tells him that she must be tired of walking so much, she agrees. Light would like to accept an order as soon as possible, so he goes to the reception. An adventurer seeks to cause Light problems. Since he tells him to look where he's going, but Light tells him that he was the one who collided with him. He answers that if he is an adventurer he should be able to dodge him, so he asks him if he is not the one who sells fruit in the market, the master of fruits. He asks him what he does here in the guild, and that this place is not for him, and that Ayla gets closer to Light, so Light gives more attention to Ayla, and completely ignores the adventurer he was talking to. This makes the guy angry, so he takes out his sword and attacks him, but Light stops his attack. Here Light realizes that carrying a sword also increases his reaction speed, but he tells him to stop. After that the guy just let Light pass, since he realized that he is no rival for him. Although he does not admit it, Light tells Ayla that they also gave him an order, so it's time to go. Light is very excited, since they will finally be able to see monsters, and since this place is dangerous he asks Ayla to stay here. He is looking for monsters to hunt. Ayla tells him to watch closely, and they can see a slime. Light watches him and starts walking towards him. In that, he pulls out his sword. He thinks he will win who hits first, so he runs out against the slime and he cuts it easily. The Prota realizes that he doesn't feel the weight of the sword, and his strength in his legs has increased a lot, but he has to manage his strength better. After finishing, Lyle tells her that if she takes a part of the slime, they can exchange it for money in the guild. Ayla is sorry that they have to cut the slime and take it, but Lyle tells her that with it they can buy 10 pizzas. So she says that to cut it. Lyle tells her that if she wants to eat, to ask for anything. Ayla starts to think. At that moment they hear a scream. It was the guy from before who got into a fight with the protag, and it was supposed to be their first fight too, and that it was going to be easy. So the blonde man asks what an ogre is doing here. They are very scared. Since the ogre is very bad, the ogre begins his attack. They know that they can't do anything against him, and that they are finished, and that Light starts to call them. He asks them if they are okay. They run to Light. Light notices the monster. Ayla tells him that it is an ogre and that they normally do not kill around here. The three guys took the ogre to Light and ran away, thinking that this would be the end for him, and as the ogre already fixed on him, Light has no choice but to fight, although he is excited, because he thinks that if he defeats him it will be the perfect start for his career. While fighting, Ayla tells him to be careful, since the god of the sword does not increase physical defense, so if he does not dodge the attacks of the ogre, he could die instantly. Light thinks he will be the best adventurer in the world, and will write his name in history, so in that case, his Prota's power-up is activated, and he thinks he should be able to overcome this test easily. So after thinking that, Light launches himself to attack him. He thinks he will get it, and that he will get to the level of his childhood friend, so at that moment Light throws a demonic cut and ends the achievement. Splitting it in half, he is excited to have achieved it. Ayla asks him if he is okay. He says that obviously yes. Since he is master of fruits and god of the sword, the other adventurers stayed to observe what was happening to Light, and seeing that he won, they wonder who he is. Once in the guild, Light informs that in addition to a slime, he also defeated an ogre, and as proof he brought the horn of the ogre, and everything he asks if he can exchange it for money. The guild receptionist tells him that a moment please. Light feels very good since now he is one more adventurer. At that moment he hears a commotion in the guild. He wonders what happens, and it turns out that the S-rank group is entering, and guess what? In that group, Light can see Elena. The star of Zazard. Light approaches Elena and starts talking to her. He says how long, but she returns to see him with a cold look and says that he confuses her with another person. This obviously leaves Light shocked. What will happen with this story? We'll see that in the next chapter, since here ends the chapter 1 of this anime that has just come out. So if you want part 2, let me know with a comment in the comment section. Without more to say, bye.